I had mostly positive things to say about Wuthering Waves. There were a few negative. There were a couple different issues I found with the game, namely the co-op, the depth of story, and admittedly the world itself feeling a little bit empty. But at the same time, this was merely a beta test phase, so they have plenty of time to remedy the issues that I personally had with it, populate the world with more content, touch up the story, make it feel more impactful, actually make a decent multiplayer, because let's be honest, Genshin's multiplayer is kind of fucking shit, and Wuthering Waves co-op is actually worse than Genshin's right now. But other than those very few minor issues, everything else about the game was a phenomenal, enthralling, captivating experience, and I enjoyed every single second I spent in it. Now, for those of you that weren't aware, the beta test actually concluded last week, and Mrs. Stix was actually very upset with that because she was spending hours in the game every single day. But the Wuthering Waves team posted their closed beta test review. They go on to state, after carefully viewing your feedback, we'd like to share our plans for improvements to the game. So, did Kudo Game, did Wuthering Waves listen? Let's go ahead and find out. Before we jump into the changes to Wuthering Waves, though, I want to take a moment here to thank our incredible patrons over on Patreon. You guys are absolute freaking legends, and I cannot thank you all enough for being active supporters of this channel. Also, if you guys have a moment, consider following me on Twitch, where I stream every single weekend. Most of the time. Wuthering Waves closed beta test review. Is there a scroll thing? That is almost invisible on the side of my screen. Dear Rovers, it has been a while since the closed beta test concluded. No, it hasn't. It's been like a week. We'd like to keep you updated on the game. First, we'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to all that followed our game or participated in the closed beta test. Your satisfaction is our greatest motivation. Your feedback from in-game messages, social media posts, and surveys is greatly appreciated. We have started follow-up development for Wuthering Waves, in which we will prioritize the following aspects. Storyline, thank you. Thank God. Oh my God, this was absolutely necessary. Punishing Grey Raven's story, hear me out. The beginning of Punishing Grey Raven's story is kinda shit. As the game progresses, the story gets significantly better to a point where the narrative is actually a lot of fun to consume. But the first several chapters almost bored me to tears. Wuthering Waves, not really that much different. The story in Wuthering Waves leaves a lot to be desired. We have received a lot of feedback on the storyline during the closed beta test. Future improvements will focus on the storyline, including but not limited to rewriting the storylines for some of the main missions and side quests. Fantastic choice. Adjusting the personalities of some characters, I don't really think that's necessary, but sure. Adding English voice lines and improve the dubbing quality. I honestly, I didn't find issue with the English dub. I thought the English dub was pretty good for most of the characters, admittedly not all of them. Optimizing cutscene presentation. I don't know what they mean by that. I didn't really see any issue with how the cutscenes were presented. Mrs. Stix and I were sitting there during the cutscenes like, holy crap, this looks incredible. So, I mean, if they can make it look even better than that, dude, by all means, sure. We will continuously work on refining the storyline. We hope to improve your experience with the main missions and side quests. Localization, this is another area that I actually found issue with. Not majorly, but there were a lot of instances where grammatical errors were made, spelling errors, at times wrong words altogether. Localization quality is another focus of future improvement, as Wuthering Waves will be available globally. We're taking steps to improve the quality of text translation, voice lines, and interactive content. In addition, more languages will be supported in the future. We look forward to bringing our global audience a better gaming experience. Hey, if you guys need someone to voice additional characters in your game, this guy right here is more than willing to voice any of the characters. Male characters, female, fuck, I would voice a little kid, I'd voice a monster. Like, I'd be more than happy to do grunts and various other noises that monsters make. Being able to actually, like, be inside Wuthering Waves would be so cool. Game art. We'll be improving multiple aspects of the game's art and design according to your feedback during the closed beta test, including character design, environment design, UI design issues, and more. No, this is not a good idea. I do not like this. The character design, sure. I thought the characters were actually beautiful in the game. I do not think they need to alter the environment design. The game is saturated, it's diluted, it's dark, gloomy, barren, empty, like it feels dead. That's the kind of aesthetic they were going for. We don't need it to be bright and vibrant like Genshin Impact. We already have a Genshin Impact. We have another game that tried to be a Genshin Impact, Tower of Fantasy. We don't need another game on top of the other game failing to be another Genshin Impact. We need this to be its own entity. We don't need it copying something that other people want it to be and then have them criticize it for looking the same. Seriously, performance. We plan to continuously work on improving the performance issues frequently mentioned in your feedback. I didn't encounter any performance issues whatsoever. Optimizing the game client to reduce lagging, frame drops, and crashes, none of which I experienced. Fix pixelated models, key sensitivity issues, and camera follow. Again, no issues with that myself. Optimize the mobile experience, including making the interface layout, graphics quality, and frame rate customizable. I mean, I can get behind that, definitely. Gameplay. We're further polishing the existing content while developing new gameplay for you to enjoy. Further improving the combat experience. The combat was by far the best part of the game outside of the character models themselves. Providing a richer ecosystem with more possibilities. Okay, admittedly the ecosystem was kind of shit. Definitely needs to be fleshed out more. Reworking the beginner tutorials. Admittedly, I thought the beginner tutorial was perfectly fine. Didn't even last very long. Optimizing the modulation system. Sure, yeah. A lot of the actual systems in game were a little bit shallow, but I'd anticipated that given this was only a beta test. I figured they were gonna put more effort into it in future beta tests and allow us to test the deeper, more feature-rich systems as they were made readily available. More gameplay updates are already in the works. We'll keep working on improving your experience. Fantastic. We're working on other new content in addition to the changes listed above. We'll keep bringing you exciting new content to enjoy in Wuthering Waves. That sounds good to me. Can you, I have a question for you guys though. Since I was given access to the most recent beta test, does that mean that you might be willing to let me into the next one too? Where I can test all of this. I'd be more than happy to test all of this again. Just, you know, let me. I'm more than willing and I'm more than able. Now, Wuthering Waves for me was such a fun experience. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I feel like there are, again, definitely some issues that warrant fixing, but at the end of the day, I can see that they're actively working on it. Wuthering Waves is definitely not ready. If it released in the state that it is in now, it would not do very good. But with all the changes that they're working on, I have no doubt they are going to improve to a point where hopefully the game can find some success. Now, if Wuthering Waves isn't your kind of game, absolutely no problem. I got you covered with 2 different videos on screen right now that might be of more interest to you. Go ahead and check them out.